忘れてた。残念だけど僕の指定席はお二人に譲ってあげるよ。
やっと消えてくれましたわ。
離れてくれてありがたいけど。
𝐒𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭, 𝐒𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭. Okay, I want to get myself really hyped up. So here's the thing, my friends. Episode number 14 of 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI, okay? So that's what we watched here today. We watched I'm Not a Fan of High Society, which is the label or the name of this episode of 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI. And I will tell you up front, I think, in my personal view, my personal taste, I think this might be the first or second, at least top 3 best episodes of 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI this season. This has been a little rough outing for 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI, I would say. And if you compare it, and I saw some, you know what? I was thinking about this too. I saw on the anime channel's Twitter channel, like on my Twitter feed for the anime channel, I saw a lot of hate or disdain for 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI, and I was so surprised of how many people kind of jumped on board to this thread that I was reading through of how many people didn't like season 1. And I think it might have been a thread of like, you know, anime that got season 2, blah, blah, blah. And I was so surprised because I think season 1 of 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI was so good. Like, it's fantastic action, adventure, fantasy, magic anime. And of course, it's also an isekai. And I think that's part of what gets the hate. Like, there's this bubble of the anime community, and really it's an insignificant bubble. Like, they don't matter really, because it's like 1% of like the bigger whole. And what you see on Twitter or Reddit, like it's not real. It's like this small percentage of people who actually watch. Most people who watch stuff don't interact at all. They log into their Crunchyroll or their High Dive, or, you know, used to be Funimation, RIP. And they just watch anime, right? But I was seeing, like, you know, like this bubble of just people who just like, if it's marked isekai, immediately they just write it off as like, you know, it's not good or whatever. And it's so weird. And I think this might be like the same thing that happened 10, 20 years ago when it came to shonen. Like, everything was a shonen anime. And, you know, this was like during the renaissance of, like, you know, Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, Fairy Tail, and, you know, things try to like replicate that. And it's like, you know, I think before it was like, oh, it's shonen, you know, like, oh, it's that same kind of weird thing, because isekai can be very, very good, and there's a lot of awesome isekai. But I would just find it so weird because season 1 of 𝐒𝐶𝐼MICHI was so good, and I just find it so surprising. So I think right now we're actually in season 2, where I feel like it's been, you know, it's been slower. And I've been saying for most of the season, you know, I think JC Staff, which is a studio that does the same one that does, you know, the Girls in the Dungeon, whatever, like that, Danmachi. I always forget the English name. I don't know why. But the one that does Danmachi and stuff, like, I was saying all throughout the season, like, I really feel like they treated this season like they had time, as opposed to the first season, where I think the first season was, 12 episodes? Yeah, the first season was 12 episodes. So I feel like they've treated this season like, oh, we have time to flesh out stuff, tell a story, and by happenstance, when you do that, some of it is boring, you know? But regardless, let me go all the way back. Episode 14 was awesome. Not only was it like really entertaining, and it had like a school event and like school things going on. So there was the school things. Not only did it have Makoto attending a nobles party and seeing him, you know, dressed to the nines, rizzed up, looking good. I mean, he was looking like studdish, you know what I mean? Looking real handsome out there, looking good, you know, really showing face, catching the eye of this nation called the Laurel Nation, which apparently they house and are ran, or like one of their core things is handling people they called sages, which are basically otherworlders. And it's like a nation kind of built around that. And they have a lot of Japanese influence and stuff. And, you know, this lady that he met with had demons on her side, which I don't think she knows about. But, he interacts there. We see the princess, or the queen? No, princess. We see the princess of the other nation that summoned the weirdo hero with the eye charm thingy. There with, a lot of heavy interest in Makoto. So we get all of this political intrigue and drama, right? And the political intrigue and drama it's kind of spread throughout the whole episode. That's kind of like the main focus here. It's like, you know, this country of Laurel trying to get Makoto to their side and kind of failing. He's like, nah, that ain't me, fam. Like, y'all ain't getting to be my side. Then you have the princess with his interest in him because her dude has interest in Tomoe, and he's going to get, like, that bro's going to get deleted by Tomoe, by the way. It just has to happen. And then she's there trying to figure out, you know, about him. And then later on in the episode, we have the guild leader, the dragon dude who's, you know, foaming at the mouth every time he looks at Makoto. But we have him, you know, draw straws, and, you know, Mio and Tomoe and him, they share a really fun, you know, funny moment, and lots of funny moments between Mio, Tomoe, and the guild leader. But he sees the princess, and apparently he's helped her set up some stuff for, like, the demons and whatnot, and she's talking shit about Makoto. And he's like, you don't want that. You don't want that smoke. He's like, you don't want to go after Makoto's, you know, the 𝐒𝐻𝐻 company. He's like, you don't want that smoke. She's like, yo, can I take Tomoe? He's like, nah, dude. Nah, you can't. And he's like, you don't want to go to war. Like, going to war with Makoto is like going to war with the demons. She's like, shit, he with the demons. He's like, nah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's of that level, of that magnitude. And I was like, yeah, you don't want that smoke, dude. And that was cool. And then the episode also covered the tournament that's happening within the students. And, like, there's, like, some tournament going on. That's probably the most insignificant thing. But what it's a catalyst for is the tournament's a catalyst for noble influence, and noble influence against Makoto, of them not liking him being here. So much so that they kind of, like, they've been trying to sabotage him, sabotage his students. Now the school is actually pinning his students against each other, and they're putting them in, like, some different brackets. Makoto, this episode's like, yo, I'm reaching my breaking point. Like, bro's about to, like, if you piss, like, we've seen Makoto get pissed before. If you piss this dude off, you will die. Like, he's like, yo, he's like reaching his boiling point. Like, it's about to, like, spill out. Like, bro is just reaching his limits with these folks. Like, we about to see, like noble, like just clearing. Like, it's not good. So, like, that's really cool. So overall, like, this episode, I don't know, it just had a vibe, and it was just really good. And I just really enjoy, like, I love political intrigue and political drama. I love that shit. Like, I eat that stuff up. So, you know, when they're talking about, like, oh, you know, this country's kind of, like, rooted in Japanese culture and language and linguistics, and, you know, they have ties to the otherworlders, and we talk about this other nation he's getting prepared to go to war against demons, but's worrying about Makoto. And then you have the Adventure Guild, who doesn't have any political influence, but he does kind of, like, put little droplets kind of all over. It's like, I love that stuff. Like, that's the stuff that really gets me going. And then you top it off with the magic and everything else. I was like, yes. So anyways, episode 14 I thought was awesome. Really enjoyed this episode quite a bit. Probably one of my most enjoyable episodes this season. Easy top 3. Might be like, I would have to go through and think about every single episode, but it's probably like the first or second most enjoyable episode this season so far. So anyways, episode 14 of 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿, fantastic. They crushed this episode. Easy 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10 episode. Really up there for me. So let me know your guys' thoughts about this episode in the comments down below. Assuming we still cover this show, I haven't really gone and done those mental gymnastics yet of numbers on YouTube, but I'm gonna keep covering it until I don't think I can. If for some reason I stop, I'll put it on my community post, but for now, I'll see you guys next week. All right, peace out, my friends.